Mindfulness is a key component of emotional intelligence, working with your reactivity, and stress management. This video will provide an overview of mindfulness, and then we will talk more about it in the rest of the lesson.
So as I mentioned, mindfulness and meditation are some of the best ways to alleviate stress. To define mindfulness, it's really simple. The act of it isn't, but the idea of it is. Basically, it's maintaining a present moment awareness. So just being here, not thinking about the past or thinking forward to the future. And we're aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our bodily sensations. So as thoughts come in, we are able to identify them as thoughts and notice them. Emotions, same thing. We say, oh, I am angry, or this is anger, or bodily sensations, oh, my jaw is tight. And our surrounding environment as well. You know, if you hear something, oh, I hear birds, or I hear, you know, my kids playing, whatever. And this is done through a gentle, nurturing lens without judgment. Meaning, if you hear your kids playing, you go, oh my gosh, they're so loud. No, you just say, you know, hearing kids playing. Or if your jaw is tight, you don't say, oh my gosh, I hate that my jaw is tight. You just notice it without judgment. And so it's a simple way to describe a difficult concept. So this is something that a lot of people, you know, will look at and say, oh yeah, you know, anybody can do that, and anybody can, but it does take a little bit of practice. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. So, mindfulness is a state of being. You can walk throughout your entire day being mindful, but meditation is actually a practice to develop mindfulness. So the benefits that I'm going to cite here, some are specific to practices of meditation, and some of them are just specific to being in a mindful state throughout your day, which is, you know, noticing thoughts, feelings, and things like that. But they are linked very closely in that meditation, it's like going to the gym, and for your brain, right? So that the rest of the day you can be mindful. But there are lots of recorded benefits to meditation and mindfulness. And there is a handout that you have access to that has a longer list of the original research, but just some highlights for you. It can actually change the physical structure of your brain. It can increase the gray matter in your brain and actually reduce the size of your amygdala, which is related to that fight or flight response or the stress response. So people who meditate can actually have physical measurements of difference in these brain structures. Of course, stress reduction, right? And this has been shown in study after study after study, that mindfulness and meditation are huge in helping you be less stressed. And in dealing with stressful events, because you can, you know, sort of be in the moment and take it with a little less judgment. It actually can reduce anxiety and depression. So if you have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, mindfulness is actually an excellent way to, as part of your treatment plan for those two conditions, which are related to stress, as we've already learned. And it can actually help you with performance. Your attention control and your focus improve through a practice of meditation in particular, because part of meditation is all about focusing on the things you're experiencing, usually starting with the breath. So it actually, you know, puts you in a state to practice this, and so it will thereby increase your ability to focus in your everyday life. But there's more. There are so many benefits. It improves your immune function, which is pretty amazing. So the actual cells, your immune cells in your body, are impacted by mindfulness and meditation. You can actually fight back disease better if you are practicing mindfulness. You tend to get better sleep and have less fatigue. So those two things are connected, of course, but it actually reduces your fatigue just generally throughout the day, even without impacting your sleep, because it helps with some of those stress states. It helps you be in the moment. It helps you get out of that kind of fast thinking mind, which can be exhausting. It can increase your resilience and self-efficacy. So we've learned a lot about resilience and a lot about self-efficacy in this class, and it can help with that, help you feel like you can take things on, and believe that you can handle things, and come back from more difficult situations, partially because you look at them without judgment. And finally, it actually can help with your creativity and your decision making. So there's something called the sunk cost fallacy, which is this idea that if you've put a lot of work or a lot of time or a lot of money into it, that you should keep going with it, even if it's not working. They did a study on people who were practicing mindfulness, and they actually were far less susceptible to the sunk cost fallacy. So very interesting research on that. And finally, that's just really clearly related to the work environment. It can actually increase customer satisfaction, raise productivity, save time, and it can actually save people from getting into workplace injuries. So lots of really huge benefits to mindfulness, and this is only a piece of the research, but I thought it was some of the most important things. So as I mentioned, it's a simple concept, but it's not simple to grasp immediately. It's something that does take practice and it takes time. Um, so it's, like I said earlier, kind of like a workout for your brain. You have to go to the gym every day for you to be able to get big muscles, right? And to, pick your groceries up with no problem and walk up those 2 flights of stairs to your apartment. So meditation is like that. It's you sit, ideally for at least, 20 minutes, but when you're first starting out, it's going to be less than that for sure, because, you don't start with the big weights, right? But you have to sit for at least 20 minutes or, a certain amount of time every day to kind of get that benefit. If you just do it once a week, you're not going to get that benefit, just like if you only went to the gym once a week. So it does take practice and repetition, but just like if you go to the gym every day, you can lift those groceries and go up those flights of stairs. If you meditate every day, you're going to be more mindful, more calm, and deal with stress better just throughout your entire day. So it's not just a mindful state while you're meditating, it increases your mindful state throughout your life. So one thing that a lot of people experience when they first start meditating or any kind of other mindfulness practice, which we'll talk about, there are a variety of mindfulness practices that you can get involved in, is that they will say, well, my mind isn't quiet. I'm thinking all the time. Yeah, that's because you're human and you're alive. Thinking is what your brain does. It's what it's been designed to do. The whole point of mindfulness is that you notice the thoughts. You do not judge them, right? You don't say, oh, I'm thinking again, gosh darn it. You say, oh, thinking, and you let it go, right? And that is awareness. That is mindfulness. So if you're doing that, that means you're practicing mindfulness. And it is tough, right? But as you practice more and more, you're going to have less and less of those repeating thoughts, and you're going to have to stop yourself less and let it go less, etc. But it does take time. And when you first start meditating, your brain is definitely going to go on hyperdrive just because you're actually finally sitting and letting it go. And that's when you really have to practice the non-judgment and letting it go. I really like this Buddhist saying, 1,000 times my mind wandered, 1,001 times I brought it back. And that is the practice. Being in the present can really be this very powerful thing. And this is the way that you cultivate that. So there's a variety of practices that you can get involved in. First of all is mindfulness meditation. So this is what you probably think of when you're thinking of meditation is you sit. You do not have to sit on a cushion. You can sit in a chair, or you can lie down. And this is basically you follow generally the breath, but there are other anchors that you can use. You can pay attention to sounds around you. You can pay attention to some sensation in your body, but basically it's trying to focus on a sensation and kind of bring your mind back over and over to that as things come up, emotions, thoughts, etc., which you acknowledge without judgment and let go, and then bring it back generally to the breath. And that's really all there is to it. And we'll do a little practice of meditation, and you'll see that, there's a variety of techniques that you can use, but that is meditation. There's also a really interesting style of meditation called loving kindness meditation, and this is something that is incredible in terms of its impacts. There's a lot of research supporting loving kindness meditation as something that reduces, disease. It helps with, like, it actually shortens your telomeres, meaning that it helps with anti-aging, right? It also impacts your brain. It makes you more empathetic and connected with people. But basically, loving kindness meditation is where you offer, positive thoughts to first yourself and then to other people. So you may repeat something like, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be peaceful. And then you say that to somebody that you care about, and then you pass that on to somebody that you just, see at the grocery store, somebody neutral, then maybe somebody you're having difficulty with, and then to the entire world or all beings, right? And so it's a simple practice. It's something you can look up examples of this. Generally, when you're first starting out, you're going to want to do this in a guided way. And we'll talk about some resources to find guided meditations in a minute. There's also the body scan. We talked about that earlier, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but this is a really body-based meditation focusing on sensations in your body, versus the progressive relaxation. That's sort of purposely relaxing pieces of your body. Sometimes the way the body scan is done is that you don't actually try and change it. You look at what's happening in your body, like if you have pain or tension, and you just acknowledge it, which generally relaxes you, but it's not about actually purposely relaxing each piece of you. There's also savoring, and this can be any sensation, really, but a lot of times they'll use food as an example because it's a very clear thing to savor. A very common savoring meditation is to take a raisin and you look at the raisin and you kind of feel the raisin and see how the light hits it. You smell it. You put it against your lips and just hold it there for a minute, kind of feeling what those sensations are. Then you put it in your mouth, and then you kind of hold it in your mouth and really kind of get the sensations of what happens when you put a piece of food into your mouth. Then you chew it, and you really slowly experience, the juiciness of the raisin and the texture of it, et cetera, and then you experience it as you swallow it. So it's this idea of really savoring a sensation, but you can do that with any sensation, with how the carpet feels underneath your feet, or how music sounds, or how the breeze feels on your skin. So this is really kind of being in your sensations. For people who have a hard time sitting still, or anybody really, but it's really especially powerful for folks who have that experience. A walking meditation can be very helpful. This is a very slow walking, where you pay attention to how it feels to put your feet on the earth, and how it feels to have forward momentum. You generally do one step at a time, or it's very slow. But you kind of match your breathing to your steps, and it can be a really nice way to do something that is movement related. You could also do a mindful walk, which is similar, but it's a little bit more outwardly focused. So instead of just paying attention to what's going on inside you as you walk, you kind of pay attention to what's going on outside of you. So the beautiful trees, the birds that you hear, the cars that drive by, and look at it all with non-judgment and just sort of experience it. Finally, there is a practice of naming emotions, and there's, this can kind of come up in a lot of other practices as well, but you may sit down to actually really purposely focus on this. And by naming the emotions and observing them with non-judgment, and sort of nurturing them and being caring for them, it can really reduce the emotions. So a lot of us have a tendency to want to push emotions away, which unfortunately makes them stronger, or we feel bad about the emotions that we're having. This is called meta emotions, so how we feel about the emotion, right? And generally, if we feel bad about having the emotion, it makes us feel even worse. So naming emotions is an opportunity for you to say, this is anger. Say it with non-judgment, sit in the anger, let it be there. You might even say, hello, anger, what do you need? and kind of have this friendly interaction with that emotion, and it generally allows the emotion to dissipate, which is interesting, right? It sort of seems counterintuitive, but the research shows that this is the case. So this is something, particularly if you're having a lot of difficult emotions, that you may want to practice either in your seated mindfulness meditation or just on a day-to-day basis. So now we're going to practice mindfulness. I have a video that you might be interested in from YouTube, which is a great resource for finding mindfulness meditation videos. However, you do want to be circumspect. Not all YouTube mindfulness meditations are good. So if someone asks you to float on a jewel above the ocean, it's probably not in line with some of the research and sort of the standard approaches to meditation. Not saying that that can't relax you, but do kind of be wise about which ones you use. And we'll talk about some more resources in a minute. But what I want to do is to actually have you practice meditation. So I provided this link. We'll have the link, of course, clickable outside of the video, but it's a pretty strong meditation, and I chose it because it's very short. So it allows you to do this quickly. Ideally, you'd spend more time than 5 minutes per day when you're doing a real daily practice. As I stated before, 20 minutes is definitely recommended. However, when you're first starting out meditating, it can be very hard to sit there for 20 minutes. So getting started with 5 or 10 minutes can be great. Also, this is something that can be supplemental that you can do in between meetings, or with your headphones on the bus or something like that. So it's kind of a nice resource, which is why I share this specific meditation with you. Additionally, it has some aspects of body-based mindfulness, which I think for beginning meditators can be very helpful. So that'll get you started. I am actually going to walk you through a meditation and just guide you. So I hope that you are in a comfortable space. If not, you can go ahead and pause the video and move yourself to a comfortable space, ideally somewhere quiet where you can be alone. You can do this seated in a chair, or you can do it sitting on the floor or sitting on a cushion, or you can even do it lying down unless you have a tendency to fall asleep, because you do want to make sure you're alert. Wherever you're sitting, you want to, of course, be comfortable, but you want to be able to, if you're on a chair, have your back against the seat. If you're on a cushion, make sure you're in a comfortable, cross-legged pose. Your hands are going to be in your lap. You want to sort of release your shoulders down. Your chin tends to be tilted a little bit down. Generally, it's recommended that you have your eyes closed just to avoid distractions. But if you're not comfortable with that, that's fine. You can have your eyes kind of half closed and sort of in a non-focused gaze, either on something in the distance or down at your lap. Again, it's sort of whatever's comfortable for you. But just making sure that's sort of a dignified posture where you feel comfortable. You won't get sore or distracted, although it's okay to have some uncomfortable sensations, right? We just acknowledge them and let them go without judgment, and if you need to shift a little, that's okay too. So get settled. Ideally have the lights off if you can, and I'm gonna walk you through a brief seated meditation. So you're going to start by settling into a comfortable position wherever you are, and allow your eyes to close if you're comfortable. Begin by taking several long, slow, deep breaths, breathing in fully, holding for 2 seconds, exhaling slowly and fully. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or your mouth. Allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. Bring your full attention to noticing each in-breath as it enters your nostrils, travels down your lungs, and causes your belly to expand. Then notice how each out-breath contracts your belly, and the air moves up through the lungs and back through the nostrils or mouth. Invite your full attention to flow with your breath. Notice how the inhale is different from the exhale. You may experience the air as cool as it enters your nose and warm as you exhale. Begin to let go of noises around you. If you're distracted by sounds in the room, simply notice them without judgment, and then bring your attention back to the breath. Don't try to change anything about your breath or control it in any way. Observe and accept your experience in this present moment without judgment as you pay attention to each inhale and exhale. If your mind wanders to thoughts, plans, or problems, that is okay. It's a natural part of being human. Simply notice your mind wandering. You might silently say something like wandering or thinking. Watch the thought as it enters your awareness without judgment. Then practice letting it go as if it were a leaf floating down a stream. In your mind, place each thought that arises on a leaf and watch it as it floats out of sight. Then bring your attention back to your breath. Breath is your anchor, and you can return to it over and over again when you become distracted by thoughts or emotions or outside experiences. If you're experiencing emotions, you may want to label these emotions or even label the types of thoughts. So you might say anxiety or worries or anger or planning. By noticing, you can strengthen your ability to detach from thoughts and mindfully focus your awareness back on the qualities of your breath. You might become distracted by pain or discomfort in the body, or twitching or itching sensations that draw your attention away from the breath. Simply notice that sensation without judging it, without pushing it away or wishing it were different. Simply refocus your mind and guide your attention back to your breath. As our practice comes to an end, slowly allow your attention to expand and notice your entire body, and then beyond your body to the room you were in. Start to notice the sounds around you. When you're ready, wiggle your fingers, then wiggle your toes. You may even decide to stretch a little, to roll your shoulders. Then you'll gently open your eyes and come back fully alert and awake. Remember that the breath is always there for you as a tool to refocus and bring you back to the present moment. Thank you. So hopefully all of you felt good after that meditation. I did do a lot of talking, and you may not like that. Some people like to be guided throughout the meditation. Some people like a little bit more silence. Newer meditators tend to like a little bit more in guidance, which is why I did that for you. And I was compressing a lot into a smaller period of time so that it was a manageable meditation, which you can come back to through this video if you liked that approach. But if you tend to like a little more silence, or you want a different kind of meditation, you want something that's a little more focused on your body, there are a lot of resources for you to access meditations. And I presented some of them here. First of all, on the left, we have Headspace. Headspace is a really fantastic company. It is an app that is downloadable. It does cost money, so there is a monthly fee associated with it, but it's a really great program because it teaches you how to meditate. So it has these sort of progressive lessons that will start you at the very basics and then add more and more as you go along. And there's a lot of videos and other resources for you. So if that's something you're interested in investing in, that is available to you. Calm is another app that you can download on your phone, and it does have some free content, and then there is a paid content as well. Again, lots of different sorts of meditations. It's not as progressive and sort of self-contained as Headspace, but it can be a good resource as well. Then you have Insight Timer, which is probably my favorite. One, because it's free, and two, because if you are interested in sort of picking and choosing different teachers, that it has a lot of guided meditations from a lot of different teachers with a lot of different topics, and you can filter by the thing you're experiencing. So you can look for meditations for anxiety or meditations for depression or whatever, or you can filter by the type of meditation. So if you're interested in doing a loving kindness meditation or a body scan, you can search by that. It also has a built-in timer, hence the name, which you can set up to just be a basics timer, or you can add bells or music. So once you sort of establish a practice and don't feel like you always need to be guided, it offers you that opportunity to set up your 10 or 20 minutes in the morning to help you establish your mindfulness practice. Another really great resource is the Mindful Awareness Research Center, and this is UCLA. And so they have very research-based meditations that you can access. This is available as an app, or you can just go to their website and check out their free meditations. They also have a lot of classes in mindfulness, either online or in person. So if you're in the Southern California area, you might be interested in going to these in-person classes. So that's something that you could look into at a major university. So they do a lot of research related to mindfulness, and then have a lot of resources that are for the general public. Meditation Oasis is a podcast that focuses on meditation, so it might be something you're interested in, particularly if you're a podcast kind of person. So I would check that out. They also have talks sort of about the areas of mindfulness. And then, as I mentioned before, YouTube, for those of you who may not have a smartphone or may not love downloading apps, YouTube is a really easy way to access mindfulness. There also may be meditation centers in your local area. And you can just Google meditation center and then whatever city you're in, or general region that you're in. And so these places will have opportunities for you to come together with people and actually meditate in person. They will sometimes have what's called a Sangha, which is a group of people that come to support each other through mindfulness and meditation. Some of these centers are based in Buddhist practices, but are generally open to people who practice mindfulness in a more secular way. Meditation and mindfulness are not inextricably linked to any particular religion. It's all very supported by science, and it's becoming much more secular and sort of removed from other removed from sort of the philosophy or dogma of Buddhism. So if that makes you uncomfortable, I would say, seek out maybe opportunities to do meditations through the Mindful Awareness Research Center or other places that are pretty secular. I would say that most of these opportunities or resources that I've provided you will have plenty of options for you, regardless of whatever your religious leanings are. So hopefully these are things that are useful for you and that you can establish this practice to help you manage your stress, to help you be in the moment, to help you with your, changing your brain and your creativity and your focus. It's a really powerful tool for stress management. If you have any questions about it, feel free to contact your instructors, in particular me, because I'm very interested in this area. And I think that it's worth it for everybody to at least give it a shot, to help them. And at first it will be hard, I promise, but it will get easier, and it can really have a very strong impact on your life, as it has for my life. And I hope that I can give this gift to you, and it will really help you be more successful, both in your work and your education and just in your general day.
I hope this overview of meditation and mindfulness has been helpful. I encourage you to start a daily practice. Something as little as 5 minutes can make a strong impact on your well-being and increase your emotional intelligence and ability to handle challenging emotions. It has been an incredible aspect of helping me in my life, and I hope that it can help you in yours. For more information, please reach out. It's something that I love to speak to my students about. Have a wonderful day and be at peace.